Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Assistant Director with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is football officiating training tape number 7. Uh, some really good stuff going on out there, more than halfway, crazy. Football goes way too fast, but um, enjoy it, keep up the good work. Some things to clean up, rules, mechanics, and game management philosophy wise, covering those in the memos, but also in these tapes. So just review those things with your crews this week, and as we get into the postseason, how do we work with teams, players on sportsmanship? We need to make sure we're getting safety fouls. We need to call those. Those are not optional. Time and score is not a factor on safety-related fouls. So chop blocks, late hits, targeting. We need to be on top of those pieces and call those fouls. And then as it relates to uniforms, work with the coach, try to get compliance, but then if we have to send them out, send them out, but file a contest report and let us deal with it. But some things to clean up there again covered in the memo and in these tapes. So again, not picking on any one player or team, official or crew, just trying to learn from these plays. And again, hopefully these plays are helping you as you pregame and get ready for this week's game. So with that, let's take a look at some plays. Okay, on this one, I want to talk free kick coverage. So, just a reminder, back judge, you are on the kicker's restraining line. We're going to make sure that they are not more than 5 yards back, except for the player that ultimately kicks the ball. And then umpire, you're on the receiver's restraining line, and once kickers cross both the back judge and the umpire's face, come onto the field and officiate inside out. And then we're behind the pylon looking forward for both line of scrimmage officials, referee at the goal line. And then we're going to pretty much go to zone coverage as soon as the ball is kicked. And so in this case, umpire is going to be looking straight down that seam, and the line of scrimmage official at the bottom of the screen here is going to be looking at blocks at the point of attack, and the referee will as well. And in this case, there really isn't a threat for foul or to be fouled for the line judge at the top of the screen either. So he can get his vision to point of attack blocks. And the one that we're looking for is the block right as the runner uh, breaks forward and moves up the field of play through that initial wave. And a player goes to the ground. Anytime a player goes to the ground, we need to have an idea of how that occurred. And it appears that the kicking team player kind of runs into the uh, return team player. They make contact. He kind of braces for contact, the return team player that is, and they both go to the ground. I don't have this as a holding foul, but it is right at the point of attack, and we just need to see it. And so the main reason I show this play is it's a good play to demonstrate that it is important for us to get our eyes to blocks at the point of attack in our zone of responsibility and have an explanation when a player hits the ground of why that occurred. In this case, I believe a good no call, but still a good topic of discussion for your pre-games this week is to talk about free kick coverage when we go to zone, point of attack, who's responsible for blocks and forward progress, and all of the aspects that go into the kicking game. This is a good example of scrimmage kick mechanics for us to follow. Just a couple reminders on our coverage and positioning. So remember, referees and umpires, your initial position is roughly 4 to 5 yards deep of the kicker because when they step forward, they're going to be 6, 7, 8 yards in front of you, and we'll still have a good angle on the kicker as well as blocks. So umpires, your initial position is off the edge of the free blocking zone, just like typical. And then referees, you'll be a little bit wider, but you still need to know where the free blocking zone begins and ends because if the punter decides to ultimately throw a pass, we still have intentional grounding provisions that might be in play. So we need to know that aspect of it. And then we've seen some observer reports and we've talked about it in past tapes regarding mechanics of the line judge and the down judge. In this case, the line judge position, who is actually the down judge person, they need to release at the snap, and then the down judge position is going to wait until the ball is kicked, and then will make their way downfield. In this case, not very far because the ball is kicked out of bounds. So we're just going to come to a stop, officiate blocks. We don't need to come that far because remember the back judge is shaded to the chain side of the field. And then we're going to do 2/3, 1/3 coverage relative to the return player. So if the ball is caught or lands, etc., in the 2/3 in the back judge's side of the field, they will take the return player and the line judge position will take blocks. And if the ball is in the 1/3 of by the line judge will take the return player and the back judge will take blocks. And then as far as initial positioning and movement of the back judge, we should be about 5-6 yards deep of the widest receiver on the chain side, and then another 5-6 yards or so to the chain side, to the sideline, to give us good depth. And we need to maintain that cushion. Don't let the return player get deep of us. If it's a deep kick, we need to turn our hips and go so we can officiate forward. In this case, the kick is shanked, so the back judge does a nice job of making his way over to the sideline. We're going to put our hand in the air and come up the field until the referee chops us, and that's where we're going to put the ball in play. We'll give 2 dead ball swipes, kill the clock swipes, and point. If it's on the line judge's side, they will do the same thing, and then we will put the ball in play from that particular point. So this kick is handled really well mechanically and coverage wise. Just a reminder on our initial position, our flow, and our mechanics on scrimmage kicks. But well done by the crew on this play. On this one, I want to talk about clock management and just our pre-snap routine. So it's 1st and 10, but we still know where the line to gain is. So I like that we're killing the clock right away. Even though it's near the sideline, we're not going to give the wind the clock signal. We only do that if it's in the field of play near the sideline and we don't make the line to gain. So I like that we know the line to gain in advance. So we're killing the clock. That's really well done. We're officiating the play from behind in the white. So that's really well done. But let's take a look at the clock here. You see that it's 3:48 and it is not running until the ball is snapped. So looking at the play again, the play ends inbounds for a 1st down, stops at 3:48. As soon as this ball is triangled in from the back judge and the umpire has it, referees, we need to be winding the game clock. And if the referee forgets, we need the other members of the crew to get on the horn and remind the referee to wind it up. We're either waiting too long to wind the game clock, or we are not winding it at all and we're not aware of clock status as a crew. So just need to be more on top of this, more observant of the clock, and play clocks if they're visual. But in this case, clearly a 1st down, inbounds, clock should be starting right now. And it's not starting, and we just need to be more on top of that as a crew. Clock is not quite a factor at this point. There's 3:48 to go. We should be winding it as soon as the umpire gets it in their hands. So let's be on top of clocks as a crew and not just the referee. Okay, on this one, take a look at the tackle that's made on this play. And remember, umpires, we're officiating inside out. We do a nice job here of that. Line of scrimmage, we're letting the play develop in front of us, and then we square off and get forward progress. All of that is really well done, and that's great. No other suspect blocks. But take a look at this tackle. He grabs grabs the runner in the nameplate area and then just yanks him to the ground. This is a horse collar tackle and one that we have to get. I mentioned again at the outset of this tape that safety fouls are just critical that we get these. If we miss procedural fouls or holding or those kind of things, you know, that happens. We're going to miss those, and that's not affecting player safety. This is a player safety foul, and just one we need to get. They grabs them right in the shoulder pad, jersey opening, and yanks them to the ground, takes them down. This is a horse collar tackle and one we want called. And remember, even if it's in the nameplate area and yanks them to the ground, that would also be a horse collar tackle. So let's be on top of safety fouls. Let's help our crewmates out. Let's pick these up as best we can because our games can get away from us if we're not on top of safety fouls from the beginning of the game all the way to the end. Okay, 4th and 3 here, so big play, and we cover it well, just nice and calm, under control. Nice job, line of scrimmage here. Umpire lets the passer cross his face, officiates inside out. So just really well done on this play from a coverage perspective. A couple things I just want to point out, just food for thought, something to think about with your crew and discuss is our pass coverage relative to picks. So it doesn't happen in this play. Neither one of these receivers sets a pick, but they do run crossing patterns or go against the grain. And my question to the crew is if one of these receivers would have blocked downfield on this pass, who is going to pick up offensive pass interference? Again, neither one of them do anything. Number 10 in particular does a nice job of not trying to block one of these defensive backs who is attempting to go out and make the tackle on number 16. So does a nice job there, but discuss as a crew coverage. Who would pick that up? Hopefully back judge would pick that up. If we see that number 10 blocking back towards the ball downfield as the pass is thrown here. That would be offensive pass interference for blocking downfield. Again, number 10 doesn't do that, does a really nice job. But if he did, who would see that? And I would say back judge should, but we need to discuss coverage and perhaps line of scrimmage can help. So just a good one to discuss on coverage. If either one of those players moving back towards the ball were to block downfield, who would see it and pick that up? But ultimately, this play is officiated very well, and the players executed it nicely. Okay, on this one, I want to talk about our coverage on running plays, specifically for referee and umpire. So, seems like a pretty straightforward play. When the play develops to the right-hand side, the referee is going to take front side blocks and the umpire is going to work backside and then transition to the point of attack. In this particular play, I want you to take a look at the block by number 71, who is the right guard. And it's difficult to tell from this particular view, but it seems like he gets a hold of him, spins him, and takes him to the ground. So we have an offensive holding alert. We just need to be aware of this block. We need to see it start, develop, and finish. And that means referees, we need to get our vision to the point of attack here as the play is developing our way. We don't need to stare at the ball carrier. We need to get our vision to blocks. And hopefully we can pick this up and see how this block starts and how it finishes. Is it at the point of attack? Yes. Is there a material restriction? Sure seems that way. And a takedown would be the category. Again, not the greatest view here, but just want to remind referees and umpires of our primary area of responsibilities on run plays. When it develops to the right like this, referee to the point of attack, front side blocks, umpires work backside, don't transition too quickly, and then same if we go in the other direction. Again, on this play, running play responsibilities, referee and umpire. We're going to have a draw, and quarterback gets pretty significant yardage here, but we're going to have a flag for offensive holding, and we have two flags on this particular block, uh, which is fine if it happens at the point of attack. We certainly can have that. We don't want to ball watch, and we don't want to have too many sets of eyes on the same blocks, but in this particular case, we have a hold at the point of attack. Now, again, evaluating offensive holding criteria, point of attack, yes. Material restriction, not sure that I see that here on these blocks. It appears that most of the linemen, or all of them, are blocking what's presented to them. The feet isn't taken away. Um, the defensive players in many of these blocks put themselves in a bad position just because they chose a certain direction to go, which happens every play. And so just be careful when we have these blocks. Just because something looks ugly doesn't necessarily mean that it's illegal. And you have to see the block start, develop, and finish. If the defensive player puts themselves in position through a rip move or a stunt, and that's why it appears that there's holding, we need to be careful on those and not put a flag on the ground. Now, if they gain advantageous position on the player that's blocking, and then their shoulder gets taken away from them, their feet gets taken away, that is material restriction, and we do want that called, in this case, at the point of attack. So just be careful, see the block, start, develop, and finish. Don't evaluate based on ugly. We need to see what the defender does, see what the offensive player does, why are they in the position they're in, and then is the action of material restriction. On this one, we're going to have a snap from the 10-yard line. So remember, we're making our way to the 5 and continuing on to the goal line. In this particular case, the line of scrimmage official does an excellent job of getting to the goal line and being stationary and deep at the time that the runner is threatening the goal line. So this is excellent mechanics. And then we're going to have a face mask foul during the run. We get the options from the team. They can put it on the try or on the succeeding kickoff. Referees, don't forget to do the signal of the foul. So an unusual piece there, but just remember to include the signal. I know that we announced that the result of the play was a touchdown. That was good, but don't forget the signal of the foul. But just totally calm, under control work by the line of scrimmage official here. Definitely a face mask foul. And as we talked about in a previous tape, pretty unusual to have a 5-yard foul. Most of the time they grasp it, turn it of some variety, and that's exactly what happens here. We continue to officiate, signal touchdown, then communicate the foul, get the options, and then we move on with the succeeding kickoff. So outstanding mechanics and positioning by the line of scrimmage official on this play. Really well handled. And again, if we have a snap from the 7 and in, we're going to go to the goal line immediately. In this case, snap from the 10, make our way to the 5, and then continue on to the goal line to be there when this runner gets there and we're in perfect position. So outstanding job by the line of scrimmage official on this play. Okay, on this one, we're going to have a pass to the bottom of the screen here, and it's going to be called incomplete on the field, and it is really tight. So remember, when we have quick passes like this out to the sideline, like right off the snap or pretty close to after the snap, then the primary official on ruling forward, backward is going to be the line of scrimmage official that is on the top side of the screen, in this case, the official that the pass is going away from. They just have a better vantage point of forward backward when it's coming right at us and in our lap. It's it's a little bit more difficult to tell. Again, doesn't mean that the wing on the bottom side of the screen can't rule on this, but we're going to defer to the official that the pass is going away from to be the primary. If the quarterback or a back comes out to the side zone and then pitches the ball, in that case, the primary official for ruling forward backward would be the covering official, the one that's right there. But in this case, pass right off the snap, we're going to have the primary official ruling on forward backward being the one at the top of the screen in this case. So um, really tight. I think if we're not sure, we should call this incomplete if we're 50-50 on it. We don't want a cheap turnover, but again, make sure we know who's primary. It looks like the ball is released at the 21-yard line and it's touched right about the 21-yard line. It's really close, really tight. We obviously don't have replay in regular season games, so we're going to need to make a decision. That's why I would recommend that we defer to that official that the pass is going away from as the primary. And if they have this as backwards, they're going to punch. And if we have it as forward, you can punch forward, or when the ball hits the ground, if we're not punching back, we just signal incomplete. So line of scrimmage officials talk with each other about coverage, primary, who's got what and when, especially in a play of this type, so that we don't get caught off guard and we're ready for this and we know who's going to be responsible for determining forward and backward. On this last play, I want to talk about red zone mechanics, particularly for our back judge. I know we've talked quite a bit about line of scrimmage mechanics in the red zone, but we don't talk about back judges quite as much. But remember, anytime we have a snap outside of the 15, we're going to be approximately 20 yards downfield. So if we snap it from the 16, we're going to be about 4 yards deep into the end zone. Um, Anywhere else in the middle of the field, approximately 20 yards, we're going to read the guards. If the guards stand up and pass block, then we read pass. If they come right out, charge, and try to block what's presented to them, then it's going to be a running play in all likelihood. So we would officiate accordingly. And we've talked quite a bit with our back judge trainer, John Lee Savansky, about taking more ownership on officiating running plays from the back judge position. Um, that's especially true with no official in the defensive backfield like we had for many years. So we need to take more ownership on running play officiating, especially blocks at the point of attack. We need to have more vision on those. There's a couple blocks on this play that are a little bit tighter, um, and we just need to get our vision on those as back judges. And then also, as far as snaps from the 15 and in, we're going to be at the end line. Now, in this particular case, it's snapped from the 15, so our initial position should be the end line. And if we read run and we have the opportunity to come up to the goal line, like this back judge does, great. Um, that's awesome if we can make it. I think in this case, I think we started halfway into the end zone and we were 20 yards downfield, even though when it's snapped from the 15 and in, we should be at the end line. That's what allowed us to get to the goal line and assist on ruling touchdown on this. But uh, if it's snapped from the 15 and in, we really should be at the end line. If you have an opportunity to get up there, great. If not, stay put and officiate run blocks from your position on the end line. And then lastly, this goes for any official. When we have a touchdown, we're going to act like we have a camera in our belt and we're going to turn and face players for dead ball officiating. And, we're not seeing it quite as much at the high school level, thankfully, as we do at the college and NFL levels regarding certain types of unsportsmanlike conduct and displays, especially relating to a weapon. So we're acting like we're shooting guns, etc., which is an automatic unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So we need to, be on top of that. And the best way to do that, again, is to act like you have a camera in your belt buckle. So turning and facing players. Don't just stay looking down the goal line when you signal touchdown. Turn and face players so that you can officiate the dead ball action. But um, just a reminder for back judges on our end zone positioning relative to snaps from the 15 and in, we need to be on the end line. And if we are outside the 15, approximately 20 yards downfield, and really focus in on our run block officiating responsibilities. Okay, that will do it for training tape number 7. This is the last one that will be for credit on Arbiter. So make sure we have all of those done by October 9th, which is coming up here next week. Make sure we're on top of those. Again, just some mechanics cleanup pieces, a few rules items. So get our nose in the book, take the quiz, have a discussion with your crew about the quiz questions. I know that several coaches are taking those quizzes, which is awesome. Really great to hear that. And certainly, if you have questions about any of the quizzes or the plays on these tapes, please by all means reach out to a coordinator. They are awesome resources. That's what they're there for. Um, they do a great job, so please connect with them. Mike Spanier, state supervisor, awesome, does an unbelievable job for us. Mike Cannon joined the team this year, awesome resource. Uh, Steve Fillion, Rich Stolp, Mike Graff, Paul McDonald, Bill Mills, just amazing um, people and amazing resources. So please use them. That's what they're there for. And again, just a reminder, take all of these tapes on Arbiter for credit so that you can be considered for a state tournament assignment, and make sure that all of your crewmates do so as well. Thank you for your efforts. Appreciate all of you. Have a great game tonight or this weekend, and we'll have one more tape and memo for next week.